You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? Know what I mean? But you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But you know what I mean?
I wanted to ask you actually,
Yeah,
like,
what is it?
a little interview. No. But I legitimately want to just ask you this because I've always wondered, like, the life working as a dancer, like, as that's your main job, like, that's really difficult. And, like, I think there's a lot of people who do dance and they're like, oh, I wish I could do this for my full-time job and this kind of thing. And, I tried it a bit and it's not easy, and you really don't make a lot of money, or at least, like, there's some people who make a lot of money, they make all the money, and then there's the rest of the people who don't really, like, make much. But I wanted to ask you, like, you've been doing this for what, 20 something years, you said? Almost
Yeah, I think 20
years. Yeah, like, living as a dancer, working as a dancer. Like, how do you make that work, or what were some of the most difficult parts, or what was the good parts, and just kind of speak about it in general.
A very deep question.
Yeah,
but you know what,
you just talk about your life in general with dance, like working as a dancer.
I think if you have a passion for dance, and then if you know your personality really well, you know who you are, you can get through. I think that's, like, really important, because this industry is easy to compare to the other person's doing.
Oh, yeah.
The other goal, or the other person's goal, is not your goal. Like, for me, like, for industry work at that time, like when I was 20, I felt like you really have to fight for your spot a lot of time, right? So you kind of like more compare people, like you get kind of like discouraged, and then that's like really tough, like when you're 20, like you have to really work hard and fight for it. But that's a really hard part. Like, if you have a personality that, like, you're always center of attention, and it's really like that's natural for you, go for it. I think it's good. You have to kind of be like that to get a job. But me, as a Japanese person, I never, like, I always, like, standing on the like about the corner, like, like, you kind of have to understand your personality to get by, like, it through, and you do find your way to like oral, or you need a little bit of break from dance, or it's something to make it work. But it's always, if you have that, like, I want it still, I love the dancing, we'll go back into it. But yeah, like, if you know your personality well, then like, I'm getting to the places, I'm comparing to people, comparing to your style, you just, like, detach, you just go to the studio, and then you work on yourself, and you come back to it. Like, you kind of, like, know the cycle. That's kind of how I start realizing that. But when you're 30, it's like you kind of, that part of the time that grinding is done. So it's a good stage right now for me, that, like, you pick a work that you actually really want to. I don't know,
that makes sense, though.
Answer your question.
I think part of it too is, like, depending, there's different ways of working as a dancer, and maybe
Mhm.
like most of the money is in sort of like movies or commercials or things like that, and that's where
Mhm.
you get like the quote unquote industry and this kind of stuff
Mhm.
and auditions, and
Mhm.
that, you know, that's where you kind of came from, and you were
Mhm.
you know,
And
yeah,
yeah, it's a work. I think some people that have that personality easier
yeah,
than
yeah,
others.
yeah,
Um, if you really want it, you can make it work. But if that is not for you, you start creating your own work,
mm,
because that part that in that industry usually is one choreographer, and then you do this person to choreography perfectly, and then that's your kind of job to deliver that person's choreography to world. But
yeah,
if that is not for you, then you create your own work, solo work, or
yeah,
like group, like oral work.
yeah,
And it's always kind of other way, but you have to, like, teach or
yeah,
other stuff. But that's like, it's a hard balance though, as you mentioned. It's like, yeah, it's, I can't complain, like this is job that what I love to do, and it making it work. But it's hard to sometimes, like, okay, well, get overwhelmed, right? It's really busy, like it's
yeah,
self-employed, so you have to kind of hustle all the time.
yeah,
Not the dancing part is not only it, you go home and then you're on the computer, like all of the time.
yeah,
Make it work. So
yeah,
it is. And then it's sad. Sad thing is, you were saying that too, like all the movie or commercial work is really high pay, but the work like or government funding type of job is like you work from like 9 to 5, like putting more like soul into it, and then
mm,
the money is like very low. So
yeah,
you have to really love it
yeah,
to
yeah.
do.
It's a strange thing trying to live as a dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think like what you said is like getting to know who you are,
Mm-hmm.
being comfortable with who you are, and that kind of thing is a really important part.
Yeah, like I
Like,
think it's so important
yeah,
that, like I'm not, like I'm so, I can be very lazy, or I'm weak on certain scenario, or
mhm.
I'm only child, so I really don't like like racing,
Competing.
competing. Yeah. So like that's like everything is kind of
Yeah,
competing in
yeah,
this world, so it can,
yeah,
like, you have to be very easy on you. You have to
yeah,
know you, and then if you know you, then it's a little bit easier.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
But it's hard though. But now, like, I can say I think I live long enough that I know who I am,
Yeah, yeah,
so I can make it in Michael way.
yeah. But like, because you were saying like the first part, like, especially when you're younger or something, and you're just
Mm.
really like hustling and trying to do this industry stuff and like learn,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, right? And
Yeah.
at some point you kind of figured out like this is not really the direction that I want to go,
Mm.
and this is more interest, this is what I actually really like, this is more
Mm-hmm.
me, kind of that kind of thing. Do you
Mm.
think, like, I think about this a lot, like
Yeah.
if you didn't go through that whole period of maybe struggling or dealing with industry stuff and like having to
Mm.
fight for attention and this kind of thing, and learning that side of things, and
Mm.
learning about yourself and what makes you comfortable and uncomfortable and this kind of stuff, like if you
Mm.
didn't do that, do you think you would be doing what you're doing now, that kind of thing,
No.
right? Like,
Yeah, I think every single step
mhm,
is matter. Like it built who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I tell my, like I teach Japanese ballet kids a lot, and it's a lot from when you're a dancer, like ballet dancer too, but dancer, you have to make decisions. A lot of things like decision making is always make decisions. But even though you end up hurting, or you end up not successful or negative, but those kind of experience is still plus for you. So I think I always tell them that, what do you want to do at the time? Like, what do you want to do? Because any decision that you make, or any, I don't know, in the competition too, if you lost or win, whatever you make decision, plus or minus, like it's good for you.
You can learn something from it, right?
Yeah, anything. But if like stay true to who you are, like you always have your gut feeling. It always have, everyone has. But if you go for that or not, I don't know, maybe parents tell you this, go this way, or your boyfriend or your partner or somebody tell you that side. I think that I a little bit ignore that side and then just like trust what you want to do, and then make mistake and then you get hurt. It's still a good for as an artist and as a human too.
Yeah, I think that's that's the hard thing, especially for younger dancers or just younger people, is like they're still figuring that out, and they don't really maybe get it yet, that it's like, you want to be here, you want to do this thing, but sometimes like as you go through life and you experience different things, like that can change to here, and it's this thing that you really want now. And some people just get so focused on that thing, and like
I think that's like, I think be open. Always be open, because in my experience too, like I never wanted to choreograph, I never wanted to be a teacher, or
really?
I kind of want to dance under somebody else. I felt joy to dance somebody else's choreography. But like, you can't say never, because I do completely opposite thing now, that I never thought I will be co-directing like OURO, or I do so many choreography, and then I enjoy so much teaching Japanese ballet kids and choreographing solo or group or something like that. So your mind change every day as a person and an artist. So if you're young, well, me too still, like, be open. I think that's very important. That's like, I have to remind myself every day too, because as you get older, you're stuck in one way. And then I get more scared.
It's harder to change, and you feel like, I've been doing this way for so long, so I should just keep going like this. But like that's one of the things that I've been reading about recently with like
what did you read? You always give me good
but it was like stuff
lots
like
of talk.
like that kind of thing. It's about your mentality, and how to kind of not stay positive in the sense of like going in the right direction, but there's no like, this is the direction, but you're going in a direction of like, you're not focused on getting some kind of result. Like, I have to do this thing, and that's the most important thing. Like, you got to do things to grow and all this kind of stuff, but if you're focused on like just getting that thing, I want to be this dancer, and that's the ultimate thing, and that's the end, like you're gonna be really disappointed at some point, if you didn't get it right, and you're like, I didn't get it right, and so you're focused on like the fact that you're not there. But then even if you get it and you get there, then unless you had something bigger than that, like got it, and then you're like, well, what do I do now? Like,
Mm.
I have to do something more. And one of the things that keeps coming up in a lot of the stuff that I read is like, if you focus more on just growth and learning, if you have that mentality, then like you said, all these negative experiences get turned into not necessarily positive, but chances for you to grow and learn. Yeah. So I think that's the hard part for a lot of younger people and younger dancers, is like they want to be at a certain place, and they look at, like you said, they compare to other people, and they see like, oh, I want to be that person. And I think that's important too. It's an important part. You need some goals and stuff, and especially when you're younger, stuff to shoot for.
Yeah. But every time in even the audition too, I remember I never got that. When when you go to audition and then I'm like too distracted by like the other people, I never successful the audition. I never got that part. But the time that I go there and then be yourself, and then just don't care. Jen from Storm Fox laughed at me one time in a good way, but like I did like a ballet time into 6-step or something. I just wanted to do that time, and then like I got that part, you know. So it takes out of like being embarrassed, and then takes out of like, and just like like it is how cheesy it is just to be who you are. It stands out, like you know, now like we are like overall that sometimes, you know, audition people too, like I'm the other side now, that I see more of that. Like it's not about like technique or you can do perfect, like I see more like weird and interesting
who is showing themselves, not trying to be someone else.
So I think that's like, it's more important to me.
You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? Know what I mean? But you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? You know what I mean?